Good morning, students. In your last class, we have studied about cytoplasmic inheritance. In that, you have studied about chloroplast inheritance in 4 o'clock plant and also maternal inheritance by IJOP gene in a corn. And in this class, let us study about extranuclear inheritance by mitochondria. So, the most important work on the genetics of mitochondria done in yeast, which was initiated by the discovery of peptide mutants by B. Efrusi in 1935. So, subsequently, mitochondrial DNA was studied in several organisms including plants and also animals. So, in extranuclear inheritance by mitochondria, let us study examples. First one is the Pocky strain of Neurospora. So, in fungi, that is Neurospora crassia, a number of mutations of mitochondria are inherited via the female parent, that is the mutation is inherited by the female parent. The best study of these is the Pocky strain of Neurospora crassia and first isolated by Mitchell and Mitchell in the year of 1952, and this Pocky mutant differs from the wild type strain of a Neurospora in the following aspects, that is, it is a slow growing. So, the Pocky strain of Neurospora crassia is a slow growing and it shows maternal inheritance. So, here the female characteristic is a very important and the inheritance is of the female type and it has a abnormal cytochromes. So the cytochromes of 3 cytochromes will be present, that is cytochrome A, B and C. These are found in a wild type. Cytochrome A and cytochrome B are absent, that is it has a abnormal cytochromes, that is here the cytochrome A, B, C, these are found in wild type and a cytochrome A, cytochrome B are absent and cytochrome C is in excess in case of a Pocky mutant. So in reciprocal crosses, the Pocky character shows the maternal inheritance. That is, here the female is of a Pocky strain and the male is of a wild type, then the progeny will be of a Pocky type. And if the female is a wild type and the male is of a Pocky type, then the progeny will be of a wild type. By this, we came to know about the maternal inheritance, that is the female parents' characteristics is very important. So, however, there are other marker genes which show 1:1 Mendelian segregation. So, the following evidences suggest that Pocky trait may be located in mitochondrial DNA and slow growth may be due to lack of a ATP energy and the source of this energy is mitochondria, and cytochrome in a Pocky strain differ from those in the wild type in quality and also quantity, and these cytochromes are found in the mitochondria. So these two characters, they are going to suggest that these are the evidences which are going to prove that the Pocky trait may be located in the mitochondrial DNA due to the slow growth and also that is abnormal cytochromes. So next second one is the peptide in yeast. So yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, or a single-celled Ascomycetes fungi, in the life cycle, diploid and haploid adult alternates, the former reproducing by asexual meiospores called as a ascospores, and the later by the isogametes. The peptide mutant in yeast fail to grow on the carbon source such as a glucose and produce smaller colonies. So since this difference can be observed only when such yeast cultures are kept in a oxygen containing environment. So when these peptide mutants are fail to grow in the carbon source and the difference is observed when these yeast cultures are kept in the oxygen containing environment. So it is concluded that peptide mutants have a defective aerobic respiratory mechanism. So in other words, slow growth of a peptide can be attributed to yeast cells utilization of a less efficient fermentation process. So these peptides, they differ from the wild type called as a grandi and are characterized by their insensitivity to inhibitors of aerobic pathway and the absence of cytochrome A, A3, B and a number of other changes in the mitochondrial respiratory enzymes and incomplete development of a mitochondria and a lack of sustainability of a peptide mitochondria. So the peptide mutants can be segregational, that is they follow Mendelian segregation and therefore presumably controlled by chromosomal genes. So they may also be vegetative, that is non-segregation or extrachromosomal. The genetic basis of peptide character is a cytoplasmic factor, that is a Rho factor, that is which may be absent or defective in peptides. Thus, a vegetative peptide can be a neutral, that is Rho naught, which completely lack the Rho, or it may be suppressive having a defective Rho. The neutral peptides are not transmitted while suppressive peptides are transmitted to a fraction of vegetative diploid progeny. In various strains of yeast, the suppressiveness varies from 1 to 99%, and the two lines of evidences have suggested that association of a Rho with mitochondrial DNA, that is ethidium bromide, which induces peptide mutation with 100% efficiency, causes degradation of the mitochondrial DNA after prolonged exposure of the cells. So ethidium bromide, when the cells are exposed to ethidium bromide, they are going to cause a degradation of a cells. In fact, neutral peptides have been found lacking in the mitochondrial DNA. So suppressive peptides contain mitochondrial DNA which is greatly altered in a base composition with respect to wild mitochondrial DNA. So next concept is inheritance of episome in eukaryotes. The term episome was proposed by Francois Jacob and Elie Woolman in the year of 1958 to describe extra chromosomal genetic material that may replicate autonomously or become integrated into chromosome. The use of term, however, has diverged since it was first coined as a plasmid became the preferred word for autonomously replicating extra chromosomal DNA. In prokaryotes, episome is now used by some to refer to plasmid that is capable of integrating into chromosome. The integrative plasmid may be replicated and stably maintained in a cell through multiple generations, but always at some stage they exist as an independent plasmid molecule. In eukaryotes, episomes are non-integrated extra-chromosomal closed circular DNA molecule that may be replicated in the nucleus. So, the episomes are the extra-chromosomal circular DNA molecules, and these are a non-integrated type. And viruses are the most common examples of this, such as herpes virus, adenovirus, that is tissue between the back of the nose and throat, and polyoma viruses, but some are plastids. So other examples include aberrant chromosomal fragments such as double minute chromosomes that can arise during artificial gene amplifications or in pathologic processes. Episomes in eukaryotes behave similarly to plasmids in prokaryotes in that the DNA is stably maintained and replicated with the host cell. Cytoplasmic viral episomes can also occur. Some episomes such as herpes virus replicate in a rolling circle mechanism similar to bacterial phage viruses. Others replicate through a bidirectional replication mechanism. In either case, episomes remain physically separate from the host cell chromosomes. Several cancer viruses including Epstein-Barr virus and Kaposi's sarcoma associated herpes virus are maintained as a latent chromosomally distinct episome in cancer cells, where the viruses express oncogenes that promote cancer cell proliferation. In cancers, these episomes passively replicate together with the host chromosome when the cell are going to divide. So when these viral episomes initiate lytic replication to generate multiple virus particles, they in general activate cellular innate immunity defense mechanism that are going to kill the host cells. So a plasmid is a small DNA molecule within a cell that is physically separated from a chromosomal DNA and can replicate independently. They are most commonly found in bacteria as a small circular double-stranded DNA molecules. However, plasmids are sometimes present in eukaryotic organisms. In nature, plasmids often carry genes that may benefit the survival of the organisms. For example, the antibiotic resistance. While the chromosomes are big and contain all the essential information for a living, plasmids usually are very small and they contain additional information. So artificial plasmids are widely used as a vectors in a molecular cloning, serving to drive the replication of recombinant DNA sequences within the host organisms. So there are two types of plasmid integration into a host bacteria. So first one is a non-integrating plasmids replicate as with the top instance, whereas episomes, the lower example, can integrate into the host chromosomes. So here this is the bacterial DNA and the plasmid. So there will be the cell replication. So in the second case, when there will be the integrating plasmid, that is plasmid integration, then we are going to observe the integrated plastid. And when the cell is going to replicate, we are going to observe the two cells with the integrated plasmid. So by this we came to know about extranuclear inheritance by mitochondria. In that we came to know about Pocus strain of Neurospora and petite in yeast, and also inheritance of episomes in eukaryotes.